O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
Welcome to today's deep dive. If I told you that a bizarre 400-year-old engraving of a wingless raven chained to a rock holds the exact blueprint to modern trauma therapy, you'd probably think I was crazy.
I mean, it does sound completely wild, but yeah, it's true. These 17th century alchemists weren't just, squinting at beakers trying to make literal gold.
Right, they were mapping human psychology. And the specific engraving we're looking at today is, well, it's a perfect example of this.
Exactly. So in the bottom of this jagged rock, you have this miserable chained black raven. And then right at the absolute peak, there's a pristine white vulture holding a scroll.
Which looks absurd at first glance.
Totally. But it's actually a remarkably sophisticated map of how we process deep psychological transformation.
So let's break that down for everyone. That chained raven represents what they call the nigredo, or the blackening phase.
Right, the unavoidable first step of the alchemical great work. In psychological terms, that is the really messy, agonizing dissolution of your ego.
Because you're chained to that rock, meaning you literally cannot bypass confronting your darkest traits.
Yeah, you're stuck there. And then perched at the summit is the vulture, which represents the later stages, like the albedo, the whitening phase of purification, moving toward the rubedo, the final red phase of total integration.
Wait, didn't the sources note that the vulture was chosen because medieval people believed it self-generated without a mate?
Yes, exactly. It's a symbol of this immaculate, self-created spiritual intellect.
I love the burning lamp analogy the sources use for this. The raven is like the heavy oil and the charred wick.
Oh, that's a really great way to put it.
Yeah, it's dark and heavy, but you need it to literally fuel the bright, ethereal flame, which is the white bird. The pure flame just can't exist without consuming that dark matter.
Right, so it creates this stark binary. You have base matter anchoring the bottom and pure spirit floating at the top.
Okay, but wait, let's unpack this. That actually brings up a huge contradiction. Our natural human instinct is to think spiritual growth means escaping all the heavy, dark stuff, right? Oh, sure. You burn the oil, become the flame, and just stay at the top.
Exactly. So why on earth would this scroll in the vulture's beak read, I am black, white, yellow, and red? It's pointing right back down to the dark beginning.
Yeah.
So the goal isn't just to reach enlightenment and, chill at the top forever.
Not at all. Because, the alchemy of the mind isn't just some linear ladder where you reach enlightenment and check out. Carl Jung explored this extensively with his concept of individuation.
Right, the process of becoming a complete whole person.
Yeah. And Jung realized that doesn't happen by just meditating on the light. It happens by constantly integrating your trauma and your shadow into your waking life.
So the highest spiritual state actually requires holding on to your darkest earthly experiences.
It demands it. This is governed by the alchemical law of rotatio, or rotation. If you just stay at the summit of the mountain, totally attached from reality, your psyche actually becomes incredibly fragile.
Oh, well, so you have to go back down. Yeah, you have to continually descend back into the mud to stress test your high ideals against actual frustrating human experiences. That friction is what keeps the spiritual peak vital.
But here's what I don't get. If this is a continuous moving cycle of up and down, a static drawing of a bird on a rock does a terrible job of showing that. I mean, it's completely frozen in time.
Well, that's exactly why they didn't just use drawings. Michael Mayer's 1617 text Atalanta Fugians is essentially an early multimedia experience.
Multimedia in the 17th century.
Yes, he actually paired these static emblems with actual sheet music, specifically these three-voice musical fugues.
Wait, really? So the music mathematically enacts the psychological process?
Exactly. In a fugue, musical voices chase each other. Mayer wrote a heavy, grounding bass voice to represent the earth, and a volatile, fast-moving upper voice to represent the fleeing spirit.
That is incredible.
Yeah, they ascend, cross over each other, and descend in strict counterpoint. It's an endless audio loop of that spiritual ego and the psychological shadow constantly interacting.
When you look at it that way, it completely reframes how we view our own setbacks. Hitting a low point isn't a failure or a regression. It's just the raven pulling you back down to restock the fuel.
That's it exactly. Personal growth is supposed to be circular. The alchemists call their ultimate goal the philosopher's stone, but they were really describing a stabilized human consciousness.
A mind capable of navigating the full spectrum of suffering and divine experience.
Right. Over and over again without breaking.
Which leaves you with a pretty heavy question to mull over. If the ultimate state of human wholeness requires us to continuously return to our heaviest, darkest emotional realities, well, how might modern society's obsession with relentless positivity and constant upward progress actually be stunting our true psychological evolution?